Good morning, all. It's Ian here from the Sports Card Side Hustle, and I'm coming to you with a crossover grading that we just tried and letting you know how that worked out. This comes from Steve Warner, who is a great member and leader in the Best Damn Sports Card group, a group that I created a few years ago, and he's been helping to run that, been a leader there, like I said, for years, and he acquired this 1986 Michael Jordan Fleer rookie card. It's a Beckett, a BGS 7.5 when he acquired it, right? But he did the analysis, thought about it, and thought he'd like to have it as a PSA, even if it was a 7. So we put it in. He asked me for help because he knows I do a lot of grading with PSA and that I do a lot of crossover grading sometimes. So he asked me about it. So I recommended going over the grades here, looking at the lowest grade was a 7. I knew that should get at least a 7 with PSA. And when we checked the values, they were about $500 to $1,000 higher for a PSA 7 over a BGS 7.5. So he could immediately increase the value of that graded card. The only downside, it has to go through Super Express level for a value of a card that high, right? So that's $250. But we decided why not. Steve was on board, wanted to try it. So I helped him fill out the grading. We sent that in. And here's how that works, right? So we sent it in. Here's my PSA orders. You can see my in progress, my completed. And it goes in Super Express level, like I said. Sorry if this is a little bit slow to load. So Super Express, it arrived on late on the 13th. It was basically, I think, the 14th almost when they checked it in. I had a couple of weekend days in there because that was a Wednesday night. And it was done by Tuesday. So when we go to that reveal, you can see we ended up getting a little bit slow. Let me try that reveal again because I bumped the wrong button. So when I flip it, a PSA 7. So we didn't get the 8. The 8 would have really increased the value. But I'd say when you see one of those subgrades, that whatever that minimum subgrade is, that your chances are less than 50% of getting higher than that. So we were okay with that. Put that in. So that's our final results, right? So you can see we had this BGS 7.5 end result. We ended up with a near mint 7 PSA slab. And here's what that order looks like for anybody who needs to know. You put that in as a crossover grading, but you have to pick the price level based on the assessed value. So we went up to 5,000, 2,500 to 5,000. Obviously didn't get upcharged because it only had a 7. We might have had it got an 8. And that's $249 for that level of grading. Okay? Now, when you look at the Sports Card app, Sports Card Investor app, to say, why did we do this? Was it worth it? Why did we take that chance? You can see the BGS 7.5. At the time they submitted that, especially, I think that it hadn't had a sale for 4,000 anytime recently. Now, it has had one outlier up a few over 4,000 and now back at 4,000. So if you chart that, it's bouncing around from the high 3,000s to the low 4,000s. Might be an average of 4,000 if you're lucky. But you go to PSA 7 and, it's starting to try to touch 5,000 there in recent sales. So it seems like at least a $500 difference. When you look down, that's the chart. When you look at recent sales, $4,825, $4,899. So 2 sales in a row above $4,800 when the BGS 7.5 had been below 4,000 until an outlier. So that was the decision process. That's how crossover grading works. You submit that. We put it with the minimum grade of 7. If I have a really bad grading company, but I like the card and I think it looks nice, I submit it with no minimum grade. I just want it in a PSA slab. So especially if I have an HGA or CSG or some of those that just haven't gained traction, but they have a high grade, but they have no more value than raw, I just submit them with no minimum grade. I want them in the new PSA slab. So that's what happened when we crossed over this Michael Jordan rookie card. It went from a BGS 7.5 to a PSA 7. It did have a 7 subgrade, so we knew that was probably coming. Let us know what you think. Give us your comments. Open for discussion. Thanks to Steve for sharing and being a part of this process, and congratulations to him having that card in the PSA slab that he wanted. And please hit those like and subscribe buttons. Have a great weekend, all.